My name is Umaru Sanda. My guest, M.anifest, M. How many dots are there in there?
The T.
So four dots with a T.
Yeah.
That's an M. So my guest is M. but his real name is Kwame Ametefe Chikata. Are you an Nkrumahist? You somewhere in 2012 wrote, Africa is now. Are you an Nkrumahist?
In 2012?
Yeah.
Wow, that's 8 years ago. The internet never forgets.
I know.
I definitely am a keen follower, admirer, and appreciator of what Nkrumah did, his ideologies, and his visionary status. I don't know if to say, I guess I subscribe to a lot of the Pan-African ideals and the sort of the progressive ideals that he said. I mean, I don't know whether an Nkrumah means, thinking of it politically, but I guess that's how I see it. I definitely am a pro-Nkrumah person. Yeah.
Is that why you're in the US and wearing African clothing and using Akan language in your rap lines? Was that all part of the Pan-African thing? Or?
That is such a strange question. Because nobody questions Japanese person for wearing Japanese clothes.
I know, I'm just so there are Pan-Africanists who are Pan-African in outlook, in their costume and all of that. I'm just asking if that's what you are trying to represent yourself, even though you're not here, you're not in Africa.
No, I think there's a normal. I don't think you have to assimilate anywhere you go. I think that there has to be a normalization of the fact that if today I'm wearing a suit or tomorrow I'm wearing, a batakari, there's nothing uncommon about that, or it doesn't have to be deliberate. The problem is that now we think it's Friday wear, so anybody who normalizes it is seen as Afrocentric. I don't even mind that. But yeah, I mean, we've seen Nkrumah in suits. We saw him in batakaris. We saw him in different things. Mm-hmm. So it's a deliberateness to not to say that we're not inferior. The outlook, but that is on the surface. That's superficial. Mm-hmm. You can wear African print and have an afro and still be the least progressive person in life.
That is true.
It's just, I think it's more than symbolic because people's identity helps them imagine who they are, what they subscribe to. If you think everything Western is superior, you will quickly, whether it's in economic principles and stuff, you will quickly subscribe to stuff that is in line with that. So it's all together. But I always find it curious because, in any other culture or any other people, I use Asian people a lot as that, whether it's Indian people, etc., you see what they wear. If they do it in any other country, nobody sees it as them trying to exert themselves as in their identities. It's normal place. We are the ones who've been told constantly, whether it's by our skin color, so we have to bleach, and other things that we have to aspire to something else. So when somebody is doing what is normal and natural to us, it's like, oh, you think, is that why you are doing this? No?
I think one of your lines, you mentioned something about Friday wear. You clearly don't think that we should have a Friday wear designated to an African print, do you? It should be free for all, every day, anytime, anywhere.
I mean, I don't have a prescription, but I definitely know that the motivation was good, and it probably increased people desiring, to, I guess, wear made in Ghana. It doesn't have to be print. There's a Ghanaian, it's a Nigerian in Ghana, but there's an African who made this.
Okay.
I mean, there's designers. There's so many creative. Fashion is quite forward. There's so many creative young people. It's like music.
Yeah.
It's like we don't have to make the music of our parents, but we can still make Ghanaian music of today.
Yeah.
So the same thing with fashion and how our outlook to that. A wonderful tie. You're wearing a tie.
Yeah.
But it's Ghana made.
I was going to say that you were not going to acknowledge my African print tie.
No, I mean, why should I? I mean, the material is probably from China anyway.
Most likely. But it was sewn here in Accra.
Yeah, so at least you contributed to that economy.
So 30%.
And it's fashion forward because it's still a tie. You're not doing by force that because it's print you have to make it into something traditional. Tradition evolves. It's not static.
That's true. What do you think Ghana has missed about Nkrumah so that if Nkrumah were still around, do you think we'll be where we are?
I mean, I can't tell, but definitely if I'm just to use history as a marker, I'll say that there was a lot more achieved in that time. There was a lot more understanding of a national agenda, even though some will argue that, okay, he made CPP the
de facto,
the de facto whatever. But I think there was an understanding of that development and that kind of understanding. I think partisanship has really hurt us over the years, in which the idea of a national agenda, development agenda, and us disagreeing on many different things, but having a goal, you know, whether it's capitalist, socialist, whatever. Even though I think, you know, capitalism in itself is trying to is basically, you know, a few people trying to take advantage of a lot of people, because, you know, you what do you call it? You buy low and you sell high. So if I can pay you 2 cedis to interview me, and then I can take the content and sell it for 2,000 cedis, why would I pay you more than anyway?
That's true. We'll get to the capitalist socialist. No. I'll raise it later in the interview. But what do you think is a national agenda? So you move around. You call yourself the Medina boy. I'm sure you move.
I call myself that. That is false. I identify myself with where I grew up.
Okay.
But I don't.
I'm saying you are a Medina boy. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Oh, when you move around Medina, when you see Medina Zongo, you see the people there. You drive through Nima, you drive through Circles, and all these. When you see people, and you think of the national agenda, clearly we are not going there. We are not on. I mean, the agenda has not been seen. As in, we've not realized the agenda we're looking for. What do you think should be done? You've talked about non-partisanship, but of course there have to be politicians in there to run government. But what is the key thing you want to see that you're not seeing? And how do you think we can get there? How can we have the national agenda realized?
Wow, it's wonderful to ask a musician to solve Ghana's
because you're Pan-Africanist, so
absolutely, no.
and you're forward-looking.
No, it's absolutely. And even as a citizen, I'll have my opinions. It's not because I'm an expert. I'm not speaking as an expert, but I think everywhere in the world, and especially in the so-called third world, you can see certain basic things that we try and we're talking about access to education, good education for a majority of people. We're talking about things like basic sanitation, you know, gutters, etc. You're talking about healthcare. You're talking about other things that improve the quality of life for a lot of people. And I think sometimes what tends to happen is that we focus on parochial interests, and the things that will improve the quality of life for the working class or the masses of people, that doesn't happen. Some of the basic things I'm mentioning, you understand? So the things that affect everybody. I mean, you can get into the nuances of what policies do what, etc., whether it's in agriculture, what we have to do we have to do subsidies, etc. You can get into all that, but that's not what I'm speaking about. I'm talking about a broader understanding of what are the things we need to address. I think we can all come to agreements about that. If I talk about sanitation, you and I can agree about what some of the things we need to fix, whether it's in urban planning, in these gutters, etc. The last time I was on Twitter talking about how I personally, I'm not eating wache near the gutter because I don't think, I've been romanticized it as this thing and the smell helps.
You don't think it's good enough as people claim it?
No, I mean.
Well, I can say to you that it is, but let's proceed.
Okay, we can okay, then maybe in that sense we can disagree about what sanitation means. But I think some of these things.
Actually, it means nothing really. I mean, I think it's how it's cooked, not where it's being sold, that matters.
Yes, so you even if there's germs and after COVID, aren't you?
No, I'm saying that I think I agree with you.
But we don't know where it's cooked. So
it's not about where it's being sold. If it's good wache, it's good wache. Yeah. My wife does good wache, and she doesn't cook it by the gutter, and she doesn't sell it there, but it really tastes good. So, what would you look out for? Say, if people or young people had jobs, that would be the biggest thing you want to see. And how do you think music can be used to champion the national agenda and entertainment?
I'll expand it. I think the creative, we haven't looked at, we have looked at art as entertainment and entertainment alone. But I think there is definitely a role of the creative industry or the creative ecosystem in what you would consider national development. I mean, you're talking about being able to shape how people think. You know, I'll give a small example that I have used before, that music, for instance, has a way of either normalizing something bad or ostracizing it, you know. So I'll give two quick examples. One would be normalizing colorism and saying mi brony, and next thing you know, everybody understands that lighter is better implicitly. Or the other thing will be, let's say, a Miss Bell doing an RB 16 years, in which trying to give agency to young girls to fight away predators. So there is this power to be able to do that. It doesn't even have to be conscious music, but you can actually shape cultural identity and how we think about ourselves, whether it's with print, etc. So, and in the creative realm as a whole, has many as other ways to contribute, and coming back to Nkrumah, since we are so fascinated, I think I'll sum it up by saying that the thing that my grandfather mentioned about Nkrumah, which was significant, was that he said Nkrumah treated art made art a political priority because he understood its importance in nation building. I think we might need to come back more to that, whether as private people or as a nation as a whole.
If you were given the job as Minister for Tourism
I
and
wouldn't
Creative,
take it.
Why? you want us to get somewhere. You have a private responsibility or personal responsibility to help develop the country. You're given the job. Here you are. Run the policy for creative arts and Ministry.
I wouldn't take it. Like I said, I think we all have to figure out what our roles in this life are and where we are most effective. I think I'm most effective in the private sphere and in pursuing things that will still have transformation. And I mean, I guess this year I'll speak more about some of those things. But I think, in every society, not just because you might have opinions about something doesn't qualify you or doesn't mean that you're interested in that. Because if you're not passionate about political office, for instance, you can become quite disillusioned quickly, I think, because if you think you're just passionate about issues and that's all it comes to. Politics is a whole thing.
But what if you're given the head of Ghana Tourism Authority, maybe?
Why is it because I'm a musician you're thinking Ghana Tourism?
No, because you're looking at, everybody plays to their strength. So your strength is creatives. And there's a Ministry for Tourism and Creative Arts. You clearly don't want to take up...
Ronald Reagan was an actor. Or what was he? I think so.
I know.
Schwarzenegger too became
but you have just said, so you're not interested in doing the political appointee thing, which is the Minister for Tourism. But Ghana Tourism Authority is a state institution. Of course, the appointment may be political. But I'm just saying that you're saying that your only contribution to development is by sharing your comments on Twitter. If you're given the role to lead and do something, you can do it, or you won't do it? No,
I'm not saying my only contribution is that. I think I'd rather work in the private space in different private enterprise to make things happen. So, for instance, we are here, and I have a major collaboration I'm not speaking much about, but with Impact Hub, in which we're developing certain things for the creative space. But I want to, sometimes talk less and do more. So when it's time, we will have another conversation about